Hello, welcome to Fresh Earth Comics, the podcast where we talk about comics, pop culture, anything comic book or nerdy related. I am joined by Amy. How are you doing, Amy?
I'm doing pretty good. We just hammered out three rundowns, I think, in the less than a 24-hour period. So I'm a little brain dead at this point. But
On top of driving to Asgard,
oh
on top
yeah,
of
on
that.
top of driving to Asgard and traipsing all over Jotunheim, basically.
Yeah, we went to the Thousand Islands for a wedding. That was amazing, but at the same time, it was outrageous. Like there was a time limit to get on this boat. If you don't make it on this boat, you cannot go to the wedding. And I was freaking out because it's all numbers and like I'm just like man, like I was ready at like the crack of dawn. I was just like I don't know what time we have to leave because there's a magical boat taking us to the wedding.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So first of all, let's backtrack it real fast. My cousin, my little baby cousin on my mom's side, Will, got married over the weekend to his now wife, Andrea. First of all, thank you so much for having the both of us be a part of your special day. We had so much fun.
It was delightful. It was one of the better weddings that I have been to.
Is
Um,
that because there was an open bar?
that the music was not real loud. There wasn't a whole bunch of
Yes.
flashing. The dancing I wasn't able to watch because of too much flashing.
But
Um,
also, you weren't really able to do much dancing on the account of ye old
my foot is still broke, everyone.
still broke
There has been
everybody.
zero bone growth.
We've even gotten a bone growth stimulator, which is a machine that basically just lightly jiggles everything in your
It's the
foot.
weirdest thing. It's almost like one of those foot massagers, except it's just in this little device and it's not fun. It just does my one little toe there. It's
Yeah.
I am not enjoying this broken toe.
Oh, no. I thought you were having a blast.
Oh, I am not. It's the worst.
Are you kidding me? Because you love having broken feet. That's how I met you. When I met you, you had a broken feet.
I know because
A broken feet, a broken foot. A
I've
broken feet.
I think I've been injured more in our relationship than but I've been well. Like besides the brain injury stuff.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
my foot, my finger,
Your kidney stone.
my gallbladder went.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just falling apart at this point. And so like there's certain books I've been reading like Cyborg this week. His dad made himself into the technology, into the computer so that he can live forever. And I'm like, this is what I need to do. I just need to put myself into some kind of AI technology so I can just live forever.
You sure you're not looking to do that already? Because literally, since we found out that your toe was broken, you have been obsessed with the idea that you're getting a robot foot.
Because I'm just becoming accepting of the inevitable.
You just give up on science. You're just like, all right, technology, take me over.
Well, she goes, your foot hasn't healed one bit. What are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I've just been reading a whole bunch of books. It's been fun, somewhat. Some of these, like I've been reading Marvel Unlimited. I'm really enjoying it. Except now they've added all your purchases to your library.
Hmm.
So now I can't find like Marvel works in events. Like when they do an event, they put all the books together, and it's when you can look at it at the app, you go, oh, this one, and you just put them together, and you have the story. Now I got all these purchases mixed in. It's just a mess, and I hate it. Well,
Thanks, I hate it.
it is. Amy, what book are you enjoying? Are you enjoying any books?
No.
Oh.
No, I feel like you've just caught me in a weird place because literally Wonder Woman just ended this week.
And Captain Marvel
And
ended too.
Marvel ended last week, so I'm just like, everyone I love is gone, died, and gone away. It
Well,
feels
I
like
guess maybe I
almost.
should that's what I'm trying to ask is like, what books are you enjoying? Did you enjoy Captain Marvel? Did you
I
enjoy
did.
Wonder? Like what? Tell,
It was such. I really enjoyed the send off and just everything that has happened with the Brood War and with X Men as Carol's team teamed up with some of the X-Men to fight the Brood, and I can finally talk about this because I don't feel like I'm spoiling
Nope,
it.
you talk away.
I'll be honest, I was crying. I was bawling the issue that Binary died. She gave herself up so that Carol could defeat the Brood and save all of her friends and save the rest of the X-Men. It was just such a selfless act, and the way that Kelly Thompson just wrote that, it broke my heart, but in a way that it felt really good. Like it was the greater good is always one of my favorite, I guess, tropes in comics, and Binary completely embodied that. And the way that she's written Carol's grief in that is also something that I really admire and something that hit home with me. Because she's just, it's been time. It's been 4 months, 6 months, whatever, and she is still not as far along as she would have liked to be. She's not past it. She feels like she hasn't grown past it, or it still feels so fresh to her, and she knows at some point she's going to have to move on. And just the way that she wrote it just was really, I feel as somebody who has dealt with grief, it was very accurately portrayed. You know, sometimes you're 20 steps backwards and
So
one step forward.
what is next for Captain Marvel then? Are you excited for this new series that's going to come out, like to see where the
I'm
story goes? Or are you just like, man, this was the perfect way to end it. I kind of wanted Captain Marvel for a little while because now she's everywhere. She's the leader of the Avengers right
Yes,
now.
she is. She's right next to me always. Thank you, Carol. Yeah, I mean, I know what's coming out next is a a little mini series, and after that, I believe is they're going back to a new number one. I'm not sure how soon that's going to be.
I know it's in the next year they're doing it, but
Yeah, I would say safely before the end of the year, if not right around in January.
so any other books that you have been really like, man, this is Drew can't get any more books. He's shutting down the shop, but he can order like maybe one book for you. What book would it be?
I mean, I feel like I'm cheating every time I say the Great British Bump Off, but I
It's not. If
really,
you're enjoying it, then that's the book you're enjoying.
yes, it is.
Because we haven't talked about it. There's been 2 issues that have come out since we first talked about it, I believe.
Correct. I believe we're on issue 4 or 5 at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how. I actually, now that you mention it, I'm not sure how many issues are left in the series. But I just really enjoy the writing on the book. It's just, it's cheeky and it's British. And if you've seen older episodes with Sue Perkins hosting British Bake Off, they're a little more tongue in cheek about jokes, and that was really their bread and butter for so many years on BBC was the cheekiness of everything, and that really translated into this book, and it's one of the best charms about it. On top of the art style being very adorable, and just the concept in general is just gold. I love it.
Yeah, I just know you get a huge joy. I see your smile, and you're just laughing the whole
I
entire time.
am. It's so cute and it's just so funny. It's very self-aware as well, which I always appreciate with the book.
We just got done watching Secret Invasion.
Yes.
I love Secret Invasion. It's one of the first things when I got in the comics. That was the big event that was going on,
Hmm.
and I just absolutely just kind of dove into this whole. I just dove into this whole event of what Secret Invasion was. Like I was reading the tie-ins, and I was like, man, this event. Like at first, if you I just read the main series, and I was like, it's okay. And I didn't know to read New Avengers because New Avengers told the scroll story of this, of what was going
Okay.
on, and then other people's story. Because the whole thing with Secret Invasion is you do not know who to trust. This, there is a religious zealot of scrolls that have decided that Earth is theirs. They have a right to conquer it. They because the Bible told them so,
Mhm.
and so they have infiltrated at like the highest levels. Like you don't know if you can trust the person next to you. So
Mhm.
I was so pumped going into
Oh
this.
yeah. I mean, I heard about this concept many years ago, probably easily 10 at this point.
Now, what did you hear? Because I was so curious. Like, do you just know about the scrolls, or like, do you know certain events?
This was well before Captain Marvel was out or
Yeah,
in
yeah.
theaters.
This is way
This
before. So,
is
what did you hear about Secret Invasion?
probably this was probably maybe a year or two before Infinity War, to give you a concept. And
Yeah, but Fear itself is over 10 years old at this point.
okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Fear. So, what have you heard? Because what it's not like this Fear itself just was a new thing. It came out. It's been out for a while. Like, they've tried going back to it. There was a mini series they did this year on Secret Invasion, like the sequel to it. And I
Hmm.
gotta be honest with you, it kind of flopped. I was worried it was gonna be what the series is about. So I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, from what I heard, kind of basically having a very loose knowledge of what the scrolls were. Just the fact that it was a mental mind game of you don't know what it was, basically invasion of the body snatchers kind of,
Yeah, exactly.
where you can't really trust if this person is really that person. And this just made me think of every time as soon as the episode started, how what our code word is for knowing if the other person is this person in this case for this exact scenario.
But see that's where like in the comics it gets real deep is that they've been able to access those parts of the memory.
Yeah, which is
Like
terrifying.
they know, like if the scrolls want to be me, they can be exactly me. They know all of everything I've experienced.
Yep.
They can know. And that's what freaked me out. So
Yes.
did any of your friends were like, "Man, I don't know if I can trust Captain America or Daredevil." Like, what were your friends saying? Or is
Uh
it just like, "Oh, we don't know who we can trust"?
it was really more in a hoping that it would get added to the MCU at some point kind of talk about, like,
Okay.
this is a great storyline. I think it would be amazing if they could pursue this. And to see that kind of come to fruition is pretty awesome.
So we saw the first episode. I want to know. We have not talked about this, so I
Nope.
want to know your first reactions, your thoughts. We we just saw the first episode because that's all it's out right now. It's
Yup.
going to be a weekly series every
Yup.
Wednesday. So Amy, Secret Invasion review go.
Oh, I am fucking hooked. Literally, after, spoiler alert, Martin Freeman falls off of the building, I was like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. And then I was like, they're either going to kill him off, because this is how I think when I'm watching TV, or he's a Skrull. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. He's a fucking Skrull, isn't he? Yup. And I just turned to you and I was like, well, how long has he been a Skrull then? And you're just like, well, that's the question. Welcome to Secret Invasion. And I was like, ah!
See, and that's where it fell apart for me. This show, I think I hate it
God damn
because
it, Brian.
they do not go back to this. They do not go back to like when could we have trust? When could we have trusted him? Was it during his Wakanda? Like, did he get kidnapped?
Or
We
was it
don't know.
never?
Or was it just for this one mission? And
Was it this one mission, or has he never been him from the beginning?
also I love Samuel Jackson,
Yes.
but he is old, and I can see it when he's walking. Like he is trying to walk, like he's great, and
He's
he's
also
like
supposed to be walking with a limp.
correct, but then he's like sitting down everywhere, and I'm like, I feel like this is the end of Nick Fury. Like this series is Samuel Jackson's last
Hurrah. As
hurrah.
Nick
Like
Fury.
at the end of this is gonna Fury's gonna give up his life or he's gonna die or something. I'm hoping there's gonna be a passing of the torch. Like that would be cool for them to jump the comics and make a new Nick Fury.
Yes. And It would make sense too with all of the death in the rest of the episode.
Oh, yeah. The ending is what cooked me, and I was like, because I was not expecting that.
No.
But it was. So let's start. So, Secret Invasion in this TV show by Disney Plus, they are in Moscow, and because that's where all the scrolls can live because radiation doesn't affect them.
Which I thought was like, okay, that's weird to like really explain that thoroughly.
But I feel like that's not how radiation works. Like if I'm hanging around a nuclear reactor and I leave the nuclear reactor, isn't there going to be some kind of like residue that
Yeah.
goes off of you? Like even the clothes they're wearing are like normal clothes, aren't they?
Or just like they can withstand the radioactivity, right? It's like it's not like it
It's
could
not
make them really
poisonous to them.
itchy or something.
Yeah, it does not
Like
poisonous to them, but it
they
doesn't
might not prefer to live in a radioactive society.
like
Like just saying.
we partake of the trees and we smoke a little bit in the house. I don't notice the smell.
Yeah.
And certain people come over and they're like, "Whoa. All right, this is the kind of house you have."
Yep.
Okay. And I don't smell it. I am completely nose blinds.
Yeah.
So all I can think of is the radiation is that they're completely nose blind to being radioactive and they're just walking around like, why isn't everyone like, yo, we can tell the scrolls by their radioactiveness. Like they
That's
kind
a
of
good point.
they just skip over that. And the scrolls are just living and hiding at night.
Like, do they glow when they go to bed at night? Like,
I don't know.
maybe they forgot that they don't have to glow when they go to bed at night.
They're glow in the dark night nights.
I know, they're just glow stick.
Mom,
they
I'm
just snap their joints and jiggle, and there they go.
The kids are scared. Mom, I'm scared. And she's like, all right. She takes off her eye mask so that way she can just glow.
All I was thinking now is those little tiny, like, glow sticks, and
Yeah.
they're the little glow stick
They're
children.
just little glows. That's how you can tell who they are. The little flips. That's all I thought about during this episode. Was like they're just walking around
Being radioactive.
like when Fury was like using those glasses to spot like the X they put on the backpacks.
Yes.
I was like, why didn't they just put on some nuclear reactor ones? You could see who they were. You could tell. That's all I thought about.
I mean, that's a good point.
But, like-
Marvel explained.
And also, the episode was so talky.
It was. 'Cause
Like,
I
it was
feel
an
like-
hour episode with 10 minutes of action.
And I know it's that first episode where it's like, they gotta set everything up. But it was clunky.
There, and I wonder, no, the writer's strike wouldn't have anything to do with this. Because I was thinking, oh, maybe it was a writer's, like, there's a thing in writing where you show instead of tell.
Mm-hmm.
And this was all tell.
Yes.
Like, they literally just sat, Maria Hill and Samuel Jackson just sat in front of a computer and, like, was just reciting the history of the Skull universe.
Yeah.
I was like, why didn't we get, like, some flashes, some images of, like, what was happening at that time or, no
Look.
flashbacks. It was just single pan on them and Fury's just going, this is interesting. I think I know this man.
Listen, they spent a lot of money on the graphics for that fake ass looking tablet thing that Maria Hill was
I
using.
know! That's what makes me mad. I've seen better graphics when they're doing the elections and they're like, we're looking in on the districts.
Oh my god, that's so fucking true though.
I mean, I'm still going to watch the second issue, but I got a second episode, but I got to say, I'm kind of disappointed. My anticipation was high.
Yeah.
And I got no questions of like, man, I wonder if any of the Avengers we know have been Skrulls. And like, I think we know who all the Skrulls are. They're not really in, like, I feel like they're just going to be secret guard people. Like the president's bodyguards. Like, they didn't get any actual Avengers, and I'm going to be upset if that's the case. There has to be some Avenger that was turned. Or else I'm going to be upset.
Prepare to be upset.
So I know you enjoyed it, but
I enjoyed it.
I just had my critiques.
That's fine to have critiques of it. I'm just saying, like, I'm hooked now. It's not to say that I'm going to be as enthusiastic at episode 8 or 9 or whatever this is gonna go to.
Yeah, I forgot how
Or
many
six,
episodes.
I don't
I
know.
think it might be the lower number, but I don't know. I'm in it for the ride. We'll see how many they go. Like I said, I think it's a death journey for Samuel Jackson. Like this is his
I mean,
last hurrah.
there already has been a lot of death in the show.
Oh yeah, like if you haven't seen it yet,
Fucking
recommend it because they we see someone die, but like it's the Marvel comics, so like I was waiting for this person to turn into a scroll.
yes,
So I was like, man, this is it. This is how we find out that Samuel Jackson knew. Here's where the system of trust breaks down,
yeah.
and I didn't get that. I still think that we can trust everybody, and that's my problem.
I'm a little sus of Samuel Jackson. I'll be honest. Maria Hill was asking him some questions about like, why didn't you come back to Earth? Why were you gone for so long?
And I don't see
Maybe this
Samuel
version of
Jackson as
Nick.
a mopey Debbie Downer like Theranos who made me into dust and it lost. Like he's the reason why they won because he knew enough to signal for Captain Marvel. If he didn't signal for Captain Marvel, Thanos would have won.
Yep.
So Samuel Jackson was the hero. So I'm like, why isn't this motherfucker getting it?
Yeah.
Like I think it's just poorly written sometimes because Samuel Jackson is not a pity party. Oh, it's me. Unless maybe you're right. Maybe he is a Skrull this whole time.
I don't know. Well, now that I
Because
say this,
in the comics, some of the scrolls are like Manchurian candidate
Mhm.
scrolls. So they say like Targus, Arcus, Harkabas. And you're like, oh, I'm a scroll. I remember everything.
oh, okay.
So there was also stuff like that happening in comics, which is awesome because they didn't know there were a scroll. They're like, honest, I'm not. And all of a sudden, like, you'd find out and they're like, oh, wait, I am. Oh, no.
Maybe that's what they're waiting for to do. Maybe that's what they're waiting to do with the Avenger, one of the Avengers.
Maybe. I just didn't get that and I needed it.
What if
I
it's
wanted it.
Bucky?
That would be wild.
That would be wild. Just saying, he's been under the influence of mind control before. Just
But speaking of deaths, we have to talk about a death, Amy. Zeb Wells did the
Jesus Christ! Oh
he
my
did
God!
the latest issue of Spider-Man of this whole Mary Jane and what happened to Mary Jane, and we're gonna get into some spoiler characters. That's why I wait a
Oh,
little
this
bit,
whole episode is spoilerific, obviously.
but we just wanted to wait a little bit to talk about it because I think it's big. The news. I saw it on the news first. Like it was somebody I don't even follow, and they're like, "This character's gonna die."
Oh, I will do you one better. I remember seeing Phil DeFranco cover
Yep.
that Kamala Khan was gonna get murdered.
Yeah, but I saw it in other outlets too.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? Because so I read the issue, trying not to think of it, but that's all I could think about.
Yeah,
And
like
I was
maybe
like, I
it was
wish-
gonna be a misdirect.
Yeah, and yeah, that's what I was hoping for. Maybe it wasn't really her. Maybe it was an alternate version of her.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it was really her, and it was sad, and I feel like it was
I
unjustified.
got teary-eyed.
Like,
I didn't honestly. They did. Zeb Wells, you did the damn thing. I don't know what to think now.
but I feel like they did her dirty.
I also
They
do
fridged
too.
her. They had her work at Oscorp just so they could murder her.
Yeah.
Like they could have thrown any character into that position and then make that sacrifice. It didn't have to be. I mean, I guess it did have to be Miss Marvel because she's the only one who could shapeshift.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was a cheap blow. Like someone forced him to like, or maybe he wanted to kill some character and he was like, they're like, here's your list of options. He's like, all right, I guess she's the one that makes the most sense. Like, it felt wrong.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, one could say that this whole
So
run with Zip Wells kind of feels wrong. Like, I hate to say it, but like the whole him trying to not trying but succeeding in breaking up Peter Parker and Mary Jane having a whole other family with another dude.
So yeah, let's just break up and talk about what's actually happened in the book. for if you haven't read it. So Spider-Man, last time we talked, he didn't make it in time, and Paul was there, and they're like, "Oh, this is how long do you wait for that person?"
Mm-hmm.
Apparently not that long, and I was okay with that. But now they had it that the guy he now he's what was his name?
Ramen.
Rabin.
Ramen.
Ramen, the bad guy. So
The villain of
Rabin is now in the
noodles.
present, and he's found a way to kill everybody. And so he's been attacking the city, and he's after Spider-Man, but specifically he's after Mary Jane.
Yes.
And so to protect Mary Jane, Miss Marvel turns in to Mary Jane as a
Correct.
fake. It was almost the same thing they did like in Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, where they do the polyjuice potion.
Yeah, they split up the Harry Potter. So it was very similar to that, which I don't.
It did feel cheap. I also know that Zeb Wells wrote like a letter at the end of it.
He did.
He basically talked about how this was a good way to honor Kamala Khan because she was just a good person who wanted to help people essentially, and they just said that this was a good send off, and I was like,
Oh yeah, I did read that. I
it
said
kind of,
fuck you. I
yeah,
didn't like that. I said that was a cheap blow because her movie's coming out. Like,
yeah,
why would you kill off a character that like little girls
yeah,
are like? Look at Little Mermaid. All these girls are looking up to Ariel, going, "Look it, there's a girl who looks like me. I'm someone special. How cool is that?" Now you got Kamala Khan, who has her own show, doing
hmm
pretty well. Now she's going to be in the Marvel movies with
the Marvels,
Brie
yeah,
and Monica Rambeau
yes,
and
Photon.
her Captain her name's not Brie Lawson, Captain Marvel.
She's Captain, whatever, Captain Larson.
Captain Larson. So you got Captain Mark, she's hooking up with the Marvels. And I don't like that, like, little girls are going to go, like, oh, cool. She's a comic book character. Let me read one of their stuff. And they're going to
Or
go to the
even worse,
store.
this being like their first exposure to her.
Yeah, but they're going to go to the store and go, hi, can I have Kamala Khan? And they're going to go, well, there's nothing new out now. Let me go in the back issues to get stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's this certain, I don't know, when you can see it on the wall. Like, look at all the Miles Morales on the
Mhm.
wall, or look at all these different characters you put on the wall. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Like,
Mhm.
there's a whole plethora. And now Miss Marvel is not going to be there. And
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it's cheap. It's you took a character away
Mhm.
that didn't need to go away.
Yeah.
Like, kill off Peter Parker. We've had enough Peter Parker stories. I would have been fine with his death.
I don't know. I've kind of been reading this run of Spider-Man with the attitude of this is only temporary.
Correct. And they'll bring
Essentially,
her back. There'll be some kind of magical journey she goes on, and they're going to bring her back. And
maybe Strange is involved. Bring in Cleo, why not?
yeah, like, she's going to come back. I just don't like it that this so close to the movie. So many people are going to be like, oh, I want to. Let me
Yeah.
read more about this Kamala Khan. Because they do that all the time in the shop when I'm there.
Mhm.
Right now, with Secret Invasion, people are coming in and going, oh, hey, I saw a thing on Secret Invasion. You got the comic?
Yeah.
And we go, oh, it's an old series, and they go, oh. But, something new, like they did the new Secret Invasion, you can go, oh, this series just came out. It's going to be very similar.
Mhm.
I don't hate Zeb Wells, but I just.
I just want to know who hurt you.
Yeah.
What brought you to this decision?
Are you just secretly a bully who is like, hey, these nerds are going to hate it if I do this? Haha, fuck you, nerds.
Let
Like,
us know,
like
Zeb Wells.
he's purposely antagonizing us. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna make him real mad.
Like he has dice and he's just rolling it and he's like, who am I gonna kill? Kamala Khan?
Like,
Sacrifice.
what if there's all this hate mail for Heidi Gardner, and they're all just like these nerds who are like, you suck, and he's just like, you know what? I'm taking revenge. This is for my wife. That's the only options.
I don't know. I kind of feel like Zeb Wells is maybe being pushed to just make this run a little
Oh, well, he probably
outrageous.
was, but you can also say no. You can be like, hey, I have a better idea than this. But this is what he wants. And we're going to see. I mean, who knows? And maybe a couple issues. Spider Man, like, I know you didn't read the next issue, but Peter Parker is wrecked right now.
I
He is
believe it.
not handling it well. He is mad. Norman, he's like, I can't breathe. Like, her death is on me. Like, this is not okay.
Hmm.
So I kind of like seeing that grief aspect of Peter,
Yeah.
but in the same part, it's you fridged Kamala to make Peter have these
Yeah,
emotions.
just to give a white boy some trauma.
Yeah, some character development.
Yeah.
Just read it's probably one of my favorite new number ones that we've read recently is Click Click Boom.
Oh yeah, speaking of voices and well, I guess lack of voices.
Like that comic is amazing.
Yes. Now you read this first. Do you want to explain what the basic premise is?
Yeah, the basic premise is yeah, what Click Click Boom is about. So it's a indie book. It's written by Doug Wagner and art is done by Doug Dabbs and Matt Wilson. And it's about and who's the publisher? Oh, it's Image.
Image.
So Image
Okay.
is the publisher, which Image always puts out some really great things. And so we have this deaf girl who doesn't know sign language. Like
Um,
she doesn't know how to communicate except by
she
taking
deaf and
pictures.
they referred to her as mute. And she pointed to her voice box
Yeah,
in the
so like
book.
she can't talk.
Yes,
But I
but
don't
she's still finding another way to communicate in the world,
correct, which is by taking pictures. And so these pictures
specifically Polaroids.
yeah, which is kind of awesome. And her grandfather has been teaching her to like to be an assassin, to be like this ultimate like Terminator, like end of the world
Killing
doomsday killing
machine.
machine.
Yeah.
And so like it's kind of funny. Like she's just into this world. She's just like, ha ha, I'm destroying it, but I'm taking pictures as I'm doing it because
Yeah.
it's fun. And I just really enjoyed it, especially with the characters would interact and like almost do their own kind of identifying. Like the one lady just calls her Elton John,
Yeah.
and I didn't get it because I was like, why are they calling her Elton John? And you're like, it's the sunglasses.
Yeah.
Thoughts? What did you think?
I just thought it was such a creative concept and just such a different way of communicating with somebody just through images and literally how they see the world. And it almost leads me to think of the different senses, like when you lose a sense, all the rest of yours are heightened. That she can't speak, and yet this is her way of like her enhanced sight, almost like this is her stronger sight.
Well, I thought about like a picture's worth like 1,000 words.
Hmm.
And she takes these pictures of like important moments that she thinks are important, and yet we don't understand it. And I still like I went through the book a couple of times to try to figure out like what was she trying to say, and I think it's really cool. And I this concept of especially because it's a comic book, so it's already art. So the
Yes.
pictures themselves are art. So like this is almost the perfect medium to get these because we're
To explore this
to
type of
explore yeah to
story.
explore this type of story. It's almost the perfect way to do it. Because if it was a movie, the flash of the camera, and it
Yeah.
would be like, oh, what are you handing me? Let me take like people would take up the story. Whilst this comic, the artist, I mean the creative team is choosing what we are seeing. So every picture really is like how she is viewing the world, and this is what she is saying. And I think there's a lot to look into this, and maybe I'm looking into it too much. But I'm like, man, I wonder what story I'm not catching on to yet.
Right. Yeah, like
Like
it's
what's
definitely a book that I feel um that would do us well to go back and read it again probably before the next issue comes out. Just
oh, I've already done it. That's what I mean. Like
yeah.
you go through it once and you're like, all right, cool. Go through a second, you're like picking up little things like, oh, this picture means this, and this is what she's saying. And as the books go on, I'm hoping that maybe other pictures in issue one will make more sense.
Hmm.
Like, oh, that picture there, that was the whole spoiler of the whole series.
Yes,
I think that's kind of cool, and I hope they keep with this. Like, this thing could fall apart very fast in issue two, but
it could.
the way it was written, I have strong hopes for it. I know we put it on our poll because
Yes.
I was like, it's funny. We do the rundown, and there's some books like lately, like series would just come out, and we could just talk about it till it's over, and like, all right, cool, that was a fun read. And now we get to some of these issues, and then people are like, oh, hey, I like that review they did. We want this book, and then we're out of that book. We can't
Yeah,
read
we
it
can't do
anymore.
it anymore.
'Cause it's already sold out before we can even get our hands on it.
Yeah, and unless we add it to our poll, we don't get to read it then.
Yeah, we don't know how it ends. Like a Scooby Doo Mysteries, I was like, man, I really like this. So I was like, because Drew was like, because I always like to talk about what books are on the shelf for you to buy.
Yes.
So I'm like, all right, whatever's on the shelf. And now with some of these books, people are like, no, no, he has to order them, and he's not doing the ordering right because more people are like, hey, give us this book.
Yeah.
Something you have to catch yourself. So this series, I was like, we gotta be on this pull. Put me on this immediately because just this concept is cool.
Yeah, completely agree. I just once he started talking about the Polaroids, all I could think about was that one half page where the podcast reporter passed out and she's just like and I'm just like, oh, I guess that's gonna be the easiest way to tell her that she just fucking passed out on the floor. And it just made me laugh because I was like, that's actually kind of genius to just explain to you what happened.
Have you ever been mute before or not been able to talk?
um yeah, I think, yeah, at the end of Christmas last year and at the beginning of January, I
Oh
had,
yeah, you did kind of not be able to talk for a little bit.
yeah, I was just so sick that my voice was more ruined than it is now.
I don't know. I will say, ever since I started smoking, I don't get sick at usually this time of the year I lose my voice, I get real sick.
Hmm.
It's like I get this laryngitis and I'm perfectly well but I can't talk.
Yeah.
And so I would go into work at Staples or Party Time, and they would just have me do tasks, and people would walk up to me and they're like, "Hey, where's this pencils?" And I'd like try to signal what aisle it is, or be like, you know, try to signal to them. They're like, "You're rude," and walk away. So I kind of understand where she's coming from. It's just like, you know what? No, why should I sign? No one's gonna understand me unless you sign as well.
Yeah,
Pictures are the way I view the world, and I kind of like that.
I do too. It's a cool concept. I hope it does not crash and burn in the next issue.
Well, there's only this many issues. There's only 5 issues,
All right, so I have hope.
so it can't go that out. Like it's just a little mini series, and if this takes off, it'll be another one. But I'm really interested to see where this goes.
Yes. You asked me earlier, and I just remembered that another, although it was brand new, it came out this week, but I did enjoy reading the new Hulk #1 that came out this week.
Oh, interesting. I see. I once Cates was off of it. Ryan Otley did. He did an okay job. He did great.
He
I
tried
love
to
it,
clean up a
but
massive mess.
he it's like the Justice League. Like when the Justice
Yeah.
League movie came out, like Josh Whedon's, I liked it when it came out. Like it was a movie. It was okay. I mean, there were some really bad parts in it, but I don't think it's as terrible as everyone says it is. Why watch the Snyder version and go, oh, it's night and day different. Whoa. So if I had the original team on it,
Yeah.
so with Kate's doing it, I was expecting this, and then it turned more into like kind of like the Incredible series. Like
Mm.
it just felt like it was good. It wasn't the Hulk anymore. It was something different. I liked it, but I'm just done with the Hulk. So I was like, I'm just gonna take a break. I don't. We've already done a Hulk horror story before when Mark Silvestri was on it, so I don't need to read this again.
Okay.
You read it, said,
Well,
"Oh
I
my goodness, I need to put this on the pull." So here I am. Convince me. Why do I need to get this book? Why should I even read this? I know Hulk stories.
I know you know Hulk stories. My knowledge of Hulk is not that great. I've seen the Edward Norton version, and that's kind of my knowledge of the Incredible Hulk.
But it's a number one. It's supposed to have a great jumping on point for you. So
Correct. So I mean, it's still Bruce Banner. Uh, Hulk is trying to permanently take over Bruce Banner's body at this point because to keep Hulk in check, he had kind of tortured the Hulk essentially.
yes, so that was part of the Kate's run.
Yes. So
He
they did include that in the kind of early explanation to the
okay,
book.
yeah, he really messed with the Hulk. Basically, Hulk was like a zombie,
Hmm.
and he would control the Hulk by rages, and then it was like a remote control, so Hulk had no control over his own body.
Interesting.
So if that
Well,
helps you and
yes.
everything.
So that helps me understand that why Hulk is just trying to gain control over Bruce Banner completely at this point. But there is an outside influence. There's the Mother of Horrors, who is basically just growing a bunch of lackeys to just do her bidding. And honestly, the best way that I can describe this is kind of brood level monsters that just sort of take over and are just they just look kind of buggy. They're just like living and festering inside of your body basically.
Okay.
That crossed with like honestly Swamp Thing Green Hell. It definitely has vibes of a Swamp Thing run as well as the horrors of and a feel of John Constantine.
It was supposed to be a horror Hulk, so it
Yeah,
fits the mold.
yeah. I'm. They also introduced another character. I forgot what her name is, but she seems to have some sort of powers herself, and she is being pursued, and her abusive father ends up being one of these brood-like creatures. That's
I'm excited that you're excited about a Hulk book because I was like, I guess I'm gonna jump off of it. And now you're telling me it's great. So
I mean, maybe I'm just too excited about the prospect of a horror Hulk because, like you said, you read that run with Tim
exactly,
Silvestri,
you haven't
and I
had a
haven't.
chance to jump into a Hulk book because every time you did, you kind of were like, I don't know where to jump on. You kind of got afraid at times. So
Oh yeah, I did.
now you can read a Hulk book and be part of it. Like the Avengers, I had you read the first Avengers issue,
Correct.
so that way you could jump in because now is the perfect time. They have a brand new team. Carol's the leader,
Yeah, she is.
and I was like, everybody's here. Like this is a perfect time for you to jump on and read it. And I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, do you think I enjoyed it as I gesture towards the poster that is now lives over to my left hand shoulder? Hi, Carol. Boop on the nose. Uh, yeah. So thanks, Drew, for hooking us up with this awesome Avengers poster. I really love it.
Was going through the cast. I was like, all right, this is cool, cool. I was like, oh, Amy is just gonna love this. You got Wanda and Carol on
On
the
one
team.
poster. I
Like
love it. And Vision.
it's and Vision. It's like half your pull list is on that
I
team,
know, right?
which is good for you because that means that your crossover events aren't going to be so strenuous because you're like, I'm already reading these books.
Yeah, for real.
Like the Carnage Reigns
Oh,
is in
yeah.
all these different books, and you're like, whoa! And I'm like, well, no, I was already reading that. I was already reading Carnage.
Yeah.
I was already reading Miles. So it just all flows together.
Yeah. Speaking of things that flow together, I will say there was the Scarlet Witch annual that also came out this week. And basically it's a whole prelude to this thing involving this new event with Agatha Harkness called the Contest of
The
Chaos,
Contest of Chaos.
which is apparently going to be running a theme through all of the annuals coming out this summer. So, heads up, everybody. It's going to be one of those Carnage Reigns type situations.
Which I was looking through it, and it looks like it's more of a team up, like characters are fighting each other.
Yeah,
So I don't
it's
know.
more of a versus type.
I
battle.
don't know how much you have to read all of it.
Correct. It might just.
I mean, we'll
yeah.
we'll review it for you guys. We'll let you guys know if you need to read this or
That's
not.
what we're here for.
But I just when I was going through it, I was like, oh, I if Moon Knight's fighting this person, I really don't need the right. I was like looking at the teams, and I was like, do I care about the matchup?
I'm pretty sure the only one you would care about is Spider-Man versus Wolverine.
Yeah. So here we go. So the Spider-Man annual is Spider-Man versus Wolverine. All right, cool. The Iron Man annual is Iron Man versus Storm, which
Can't you just electrocute his ass and be done?
they had this Avengers versus Marvel event,
Yeah.
like where the Avengers fought the Marvel, and they had like round one, and then they had a book called Versus, where the characters fought each other, and that's where the big like. So in the main book, they'd be like, Carol's gonna fight Wolverine. And so they go to fight, and they're like, to find out this battle, read the verses, and you'd read the verses so you get the whole fight with them going back. And that's what this feels like.
Mm.
So let me see. Human Torch versus Ghost Rider for the Fantastic Four annual. Moon Knight versus Tagegichi? I don't even know who
I
that
don't
is. Ghost Spider versus White Fox. Venom versus Deadpool. Captain Marvel versus Cyclops. And then the Avengers annual will just have the Contest of Chaos finale. Like, if you win.
Isn't there like a Captain Marvel versus question mark?
No, it's Captain Marvel versus Cyclops.
Oh, okay.
So
I just know that they were like somebody versus who? Like
I just think it's
It's a
kind of
surprise.
been done. I don't know if I really care that much. Like, what happens? Like, who if you win the fight? What do you get?
I don't know. This is the prelude.
So the prelude. What would Agnes say? Like, oh, the winner gets my heart. I'm gonna give them a castle.
It was the heart of actually
I-
somebody else.
Correct, because I know she's trying to reform the Darkhold.
Correct. But basically, Wanda has been, instead of really defeating any of her enemies that have come after her in this new Scarlet Witch series, she's basically just been like in Power Rangers Time Force, she's been shrinking them down and like putting them in their own terrarium, basically. and and she puts like a little version of herself in there so they're distracted and they don't notice that they're in this like terrarium thing. And Agatha's just like, you never learn, Wanda. You have to deal with all of this stuff. You can't just bottle it up and blah blah blah. Like,
Huh.
so Agatha has also not been totally forthcoming about why she's there, because she, surprise, was there for ulterior motives, but it did have to do with one little troublesome tyke that got bottled up in this little terrarium there.
Who was it? Is it Normie?
No, it's like
Cthulhu?
it looked like Cthulhu. It was not Cthulhu though.
All right, and with that, we'll end the show. Thank you guys so much for listening. Or if you're on YouTube, you are watching this, thank you so much. You know, we do a lot of things here on, we're trying to do things. So I hope
trying.
you guys are enjoying the rundown, the retro episodes. We have some unboxing videos I'm working on.
Yeah, well, apparently, my family listens to some form of our show because
Oh, that was weird.
we were the talk of the wedding. Apparently,
These people walked up to me and they're like, I like your show, young man. And I was like, thanks. Who are you?
and I'm like, I don't know.
I'm like, I don't know one at this wedding, but everybody knows me.
And by everybody, I mean like 10 people.
Listen, there's a lot more people than I know. Like, I didn't even recognize your Uncle Bob for like the longest time, and I was like, hey, I know that cat.
I know. Why is he standing up there? Oh, that's his son.
It was just,
But thank you, family, for listening and subscribing. Hopefully, if not, click that like button and subscribe. We appreciate it.
and we will see you guys next time.
Bye, everybody. Bye.